Welcome back to the Musing Greg. Should you have your caravan chains straight like this or crossed over like this? Well, I used to run mine straight, but I've decided a while ago that I'm going to cross them over, and here's two reasons why I think you should have your caravan chains crossed rather than straight. The chains are obviously there as a safety device. If the coupling comes off the tow ball and the caravan becomes separate from the towing vehicle, these chains are what will stop the van running away completely. Now, of course, if this does come off, the first thing that's going to happen, if say the coupling wasn't connected properly or something happened, the tow ball broke or something, this is going to bounce off and it's going to hit down on the ground. If the front of the coupling hits onto the ground, it's going to dig into the ground, and if it happens to hit a bump or something, there's a good chance that it can actually dig in and flip the whole van up or sideways and cause you to lose control. However, if the chains are crossed like this, if the coupling does come off, these chains are going to act like a net, and they'll actually stop the coupling from hitting on the ground. That's the first reason I think it's really important to have them crossed. Of course, if the chains were just straight like this, the coupling would just drop straight down between the middle of the chains, and you're not going to have that protection. The second reason is that it can prevent the chains from dragging on the ground or potentially getting pulled too tight. Let me explain how. When you run them straight, when you're turning around a corner, the inside chain is only going a very small distance from the van to the tow ball, and so the chain tends to hang down very long and often scrapes on the ground. Because of that, I would normally make the chain slightly looser, slightly tighter, by just shortening it a link or two like this. I'll just attach it there and have one link sitting free, and that way the chain wouldn't sit down so low. The trouble is, of course, that when you do that and you're going around on the other side, that's quite a bit tighter than the one that's on the other side. So you end up in this situation where the chains are either really loose or really tight. If you imagine going around a really sharp corner, this could eventually, and it has in times when we've had the torsion bars on here, this has actually got really, really tight, this chain. Not at the risk of breaking, but it certainly has got very tight, more than what it probably should do in normal use. That's the problem with having the chains straight, because the outside of the circle, the outside of the radius as you're turning, has to go a long, long way around, and the inside is really, really short. However, if the chains are crossed over like this, even when they're at rest, they're travelling a longer distance when it's straight, like this, and when you're going around a corner, the distance is more the same. You don't get the same extreme variations of a really, really long radius on this side versus a really short one on the other side. The length of the chains tends to be more consistent when they're crossed over, because when they're going straight ahead, the chains are already under just a little bit of tension. So when you turn one way, the tension relaxes a bit. When it goes the other way, it tightens up a little bit. But it's not like when the car's going straight ahead, when they're straight, they would be at the absolutely shortest length. If they're crossed over, when the car is straight and you connect them up, they're a little bit longer than their shortest length, which means that you don't get the same variation in length of the chains. So that's the second reason why I reckon it's better to have the chains crossed over. It means that you've got less chance of the chains dragging on the ground, because they're slightly longer, they're under slightly more tension when you're driving straight ahead, and there's less risk of the chains breaking if you go in a really sharp corner. Hope that helps. Like and subscribe if it does, and I'll catch you next time.